morning, everybody. Dr. Subhash Kumar ji, Anurag Sharma ji, and Dr. Sharma, and participants, distinguished participants. Some of them I know them personally, and others must be associated. Yes. Well, I feel great pleasure in participation today in this very important theme of industrial pollution control and its impact on sustainable development. If we see the historical perspective of industrial pollution, we may go as behind as 1972, when the UN conference was attended by the then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi in the Stockholm on human environment. And from there, the concept of control of pollution is started. The old saying is, we must think globally, but act locally. And that is what appears to have been done in the past. After she came back from the conference, the Water Act was brought in 1974. Because in those days, the major problem used to be of water pollution. Untreated, partially treated sewage used to go in our various rivers. And that was contributing to about 80% of water pollution problem. And industrial pollution was less, to the extent of around 20% in those. But that 20%, the quantity was less, but in terms of its toxicity and hazardous nature, it was likely to cause much more impact, rather adverse health impacts on the human being and the animals or those who come in contact with that contaminated water. But to start with, in those days, the first emphasis was on control of water pollution. And later on, it was thought that we must have some legislative framework. And that is why the Air Pollution Act was brought in the year 1981. And then, some pollution problems were getting covered under Water Act, some got covered under the Air Act. But still there were some problems pertaining to the hazardous waste, release of chemical gases, vapors, fumes, etc. from industries. And also, the compensation, etc. issues were also coming up. So it was thought that we should have some kind of umbrella act. And that is why Environment Protection Act was brought in the year 1986. So this is the story of the legislation which we covered long back. And under the Water Pollution Act, as most of you must be knowing, that State Pollution Control Boards and Central Pollution Control Board was constituted, which is the implementing agency as far as implementation of various standards and rules and regulations pertaining to water and air pollution, hazardous waste, biomedical waste, etc. are concerned. So this is the journey which we have done in the past, but now our challenges are different. More and more industries, the modern industries have come in, the production facilities have gone up, population also has gone up. There is emphasis on reduction of hazardous waste, there is emphasis on reduction of air pollution kind of activities, and more stringent standards are being framed by the regulatory agencies like CPCB and the Ministry of Environment and Forests. So there is a big challenge before the industries. I remember the days when for power sector, the particulate emissions from the stacks used to be very relaxed. It used to be around 150, but now it is 50, and even less than 50 can be achieved with the advancement in pollution control technologies, with the advancement in the ESPs, with the advancement in the back filters, cyclones. So, as we are moving ahead, there is more and more stress on the industries to control the pollution. And nowadays, the world is moving towards net zero economy. And India is also committed to achieve net zero economy, but by the year 2070. Whereas the global commitments are to achieve net zero by 2015. And by 2030, the stress is on reduction of around 45% of the global warming gases. So we have to also move accordingly, and also in the process, we have to shift from fossil fuel consumption to non-renewable energy sources like solar, wind, biomass, etc. Wind is one of the important things, solar also is important, which a government of India is moving ahead very fast in these directions. Now, if we see the industrial scenario, as far as large industries are concerned, they have the resources, and the pollution problems has been contained to large extent by the major industrial complexes, wherever they are. But the more problem is from the medium and the small scale industries. Neither they have will nor they have the resources to control the pollution problems. So it is the area pertaining to small scale and medium scale industries where more and more focus is required to be done. And that is why I remember when I was in the ministry, the various measures were taken. Some fiscal benefits were also given to the small-scale industries in the form of common effluent treatment plant. For that, a scheme was evolved and subsidy was available at the state level and at the central level, and also committed financial loan from the financial institutions. So with that, quite a lot of CETPs, common effluent treatment plants, were set up in the various industrial estates, and that really worked well, and the industrial pollution could be contained to a large extent. But still, there are pockets. CPCB has identified so many critically polluted areas. Earlier it used to be 24 critically polluted areas. Dr. Kamanotra is sitting here. And the status of those critically polluted areas in the past used to be very bad. But after the pollution control measures have been taken in terms of air pollution control, in terms of providing various CETPs, things have improved a lot. I am not saying that it is perfect and 100% success has been achieved. But if we compare it from the past and now, things have certainly moved towards much better environment in these areas as well. Now, what is the way forward? How can we move towards sustainability of our environment in terms of less consumption of resources, less energy utilization, less waste generation? How we can optimize all these things? For that, I think experts have to sit together and come out with a framework as what is to be done for a specific kind of industries. Coming to the power sector to start with, because it causes quite a lot of problems in terms of climate change due to emissions of carbon dioxide. Even though fossil fuel in terms of coal, oil and gas, will continue to provide primary source of energy. There is no substitute for that for the time being. But supplementary sources of energy like solar, wind, biomass, etc. will also be given quite a lot of emphasis in the years to come. And around 20% of solar power is already there in our country. And 10%, 10 to 15% is wind energy. And government wants to accelerate progress and installation of such non-renewable sources of energy in the country, and that is what the commitment also has been given to the United Nations Climate Change Convention framework. Now, slowly and slowly we are moving in that directions. But these supplemental sources of energy will be there to help us, but during the night time, during the rainy season period, when the clouds are there, what you will do? You have to depend on the primary source of energy like fossil fuel. Hydroelectric is of great help to us, and around 15% of hydroelectric generation is there. But that has got its own complications in terms of submergence of quite a lot of land, deforestation of large areas, human settlements get displaced, their rehabilitation has to be done. So all these things are also associated with that. Then there is a stress on nuclear power generation. India is doing a lot of stress on nuclear power generation also. And that is the step towards non-CO2 emissions. These are the things which are of future, like hydrogen fuel is also one of the important areas where a lot of work is being done, whether it is blue hydrogen or green hydrogen or brown hydrogen. There are efforts to tap it and try to use this energy, which could be the future fuel for all of us. But right now, for the years to come, maybe for 10 years or 15 years, ONGC knows much better than me that we will have to depend on oil and gas as also on the coal. And India has got a lot of coal reserves, so we have to exploit it. Like the BRICS countries, Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa. Our major dependence will continue to be on coal, and we have to look forward the technologies which are clean coal technologies, gasification, etc., and move in that direction as well. So, I think I have got limited time. I don't want to encroach upon the times, but I thought I will share these views with you. And in the sessions, in the technical sessions, which will take place after this, we will have more detailed discussions on industrial pollution control vis-a-vis sustainable development. So with this, I would like to stop and thank you very much.